This Tuesday, the 26th of August, we shall be taking on the next shlok on chapter 13, Prakriti Purush Vivek Yog. We have already seen the shape of the invisible, indescribable, imperceivable, inconceivable Almighty Lord. Isn't it a huge mystery? It's not visible to most people, almost none, and yet He is the only reality. Whereas on the other side, whatever we see in this entire creation, the world and everything, is very much visible, perceivable, touchable, feelable, hearable, seeable, everything. And yet, it is not real. I was just reading somewhere yesterday. These are very good, very nice stories that you pick up on the social media. Some of them are convincing, some of them are fake. So you have to have the inherent capacity to understand what is fake and what is genuine. If you develop that, then you can enjoy the real ones. There is one famous saint from Vrindavan, is called Premanandji. Yes, day before or maybe a few days earlier, there was a little bit of a dispute amongst him and Rambhadracharya ji, the blind saint of Chitrakoot. Anyway, regardless of that, Premanandji does not speak. See, bhakti, devotion, can be of two types. One where there is, the need to be one with your beloved, the Lord Almighty. That love, that bhakti, that devotion is the one that the residents of Vrindavan had for Lord Krishna. And the other is Niras Bhakti. Niras means where there is no ras. Ras is joy. The strict business which Uddhav, Bhagavan Krishna's relative and senior to him in age, used to give sermons to the Lord about. And one day, tired of his long and heavy dissertations, Krishna said, go and meet Radha and then come back and talk to me about bhakti. So he went and he met Radha and he was a changed man. He was trying to commiserate with her and say, okay, doesn't matter, he's there. He said, I know, he's always there, he's always with me. He has never left. Only blind people think that he has left because they can't see him. This question came up year before last. Krishna ji was here for some celebration. I think it was Janmashtami or maybe it was for our Kolkata Sangho. I don't remember. But she asked me a question. She said, you have had the fortune of being very close to your Guru and always talking to him about various subjects. Did it ever occur to you to ask him what is the difference between Bhagavad Mahapuran and the Gita? And I said, Didi, yes, I had a discussion. The Gita, because it is so concise, so concentrated, so to the point, is difficult to comprehend, is difficult to fall in love with. but is powerful enough. However, when Maharishi Vedvyas, after having written Mahabharata and the Gita also he wrote after that, and he realized that the general public will not be enamored of a dry subject. There is much more hidden between the lines than the lines themselves speak of in the Gita. In the Bhagavad, he reversed it. With the medium of stutis for all the different gods, in terms of writing stories about their Leela. Same sermon is being given, but with a lot of flowery language, story, etc., which attracts the normal man's attention, and it enters his heart quickly enough. The Gita, as I've always said, and I repeat now, is difficult to grasp in its entirety. I will not say even difficulty, it's almost impossible to grasp in its entirety, but we are so blessed to have this enormously evolved Guru Parampara who has written 3 volumes and which has explained it repeatedly to us and continues to arrange functions like this, where Gita is talked, discussed, people make an attempt to understand it. Because it is the essence. The essence is always difficult to know, difficult to comprehend. So some of the chapters that we are going through, including chapter 13, 14, 16, and then finally, of course, 18, are a little tough to grasp. So we have reached in our journey where the Lord has described the ways in which He stays within your body and He controls you. He makes you operative, where you are almost like self-functioning. And He gives you the artificial intelligence to understand where to go, where not to go. And He leaves it to your discretion. I don't know if I'm making sense, but in my heart it is making a lot of sense. A very tiny story of this type is the creation of the Voyager. The Voyager series, there was up to, I think, 11 probes. Voyager 1, Voyager 2, Voyager 3, Voyager 4, Voyager 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then they stopped. Voyager 1 has crossed the interstellar space. It has crossed our solar system and gone much beyond. Now imagine this was done in 1970. That's almost 55 years back. Though that time the computer itself was primitive, very small memories, very small instrumentation. Language was a problem, software was a problem, and yet it is still beaming in information. It was programmed to come back after its journey. We are the Voyagers that God has made. We are programmed to come back. And we travel for many, 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 many millions of lives. We enter many species, we become animals, reptiles, birds, fish, humans, and then go back and repeat the cycle again and again and again and again. The only problem is our contact with Him, though inherent, is misused. I would say not even misused, it is disused. We don't contact our base station Houston and say, Houston, I'm happy coming home. We don't do that. The Lord has made, this is just an imagination that I have, and the Lord has made the Gita one of the key softwares which will update. You know, you have various apps and software you update occasionally. So Gita is the software that updates your computer, wipes it off all its viruses, glitches, malfunctions, and puts in the right word. Our sensory organs are the ones that feed our inner being, the soul, call it the man, call it the buddhi, call it a combination of all those three things. And the feedback that we get from our senses, eyes, ears, nose, is an elusive feedback. It's very limited. We can't look between the lines, we can't look beyond the fog. So what do? We go and read the Gita. We go and do a little bit of sadhana. Our pranayam is the recharger. Our kriya is the recharger. Our Gita is only a directive on how to do it. The actual job has to be done by kriya. And when you are able to do that, your batteries get charged, your sensors get reactivated, and you are able to communicate better with Houston. So today, I don't know which slok it is. I think it is 18 if I'm not wrong. Let us see. Oops. Now we have finished 18. We shall be doing. I'm a little confused. Runadi, can you help me out? Are we going to read the 18 or 19 today?
19 today.
Okay, fine. What does the shlok number 18 say? Iti kshetram tatha jnanam gyeyan choktam samasata madbhakta etad vigyaya madbhavayopapadyate. Iti kshetram tatha jnanam. Okay. This kshetra, the body, and jnanam, gyeyancha, him. The process of knowing him is called jnana. Like going to school. And what you learn in the school is called gyeya. That is what you go there to learn. I have told you in brief. The Lord is saying this. He is concluding his description of the kshetra, the body, and the Lord himself. Madhbhakta eta dvigyaya. Those who are devoted to me, once they know this, madbhavayo papadyate. They try and reach me. इसको जानकर मेरे भाव प्राप्ति के योग्य होता है. He becomes capable of meeting me, being one with me. That is what 18 was. 19 says, प्रकृतिं पुरुषञ्चैव विद्यनादो उभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृति संभवान्. This is where he will first start with the joint Prakriti and Purush, then he will again separately discuss the functioning of Prakriti separately, Purush separately, and what it does to you. So he says Prakriti and Purush. Prakriti is nature, his power, his Maya, and Purush is he himself. दोनों को अनादि जानो. They are timeless. They are not prophets. They were not born in 2025 years ago, or 1400 years ago, or 1700 years ago, or the time of Buddha, or X or Y or Z. He has always been there. Sanatan. Since the beginning of time itself. So, both of them, he and his power or Shakti or force, have been there forever. All the defects and the gun, Prakriti's gun, Satagun, Rajagun, Tamagun, they come out of my force, my Prakriti, my nature. Know this. Kshatragya Purush. That means he who controls this body, the force or the formless one, lives in the Kutastha. There is no beginning, no end to him. Your body has a certain expiry date. Your body consists of three parts. The Sthul Sharir, the Sukshma Sharir and the Karan Sharir. In English, the corporal body or the gross body, the ethereal body or the Sukshma body, and the Karan Sharir or the tag body, the identity mark body. You know, like you carry a suitcase, you attach a tag to it, giving your name, phone number, how to contact you, etc. So that it identifies where you are. You go to a hotel, you check in, they add a tag, room number so and so. That attaches you to that particular room for the duration of your stay in the hotel. So for the duration of our stay on the earth, he gives us a tag body. No matter how many species you cross over from one to the other, to the other, to the other, endlessly, innumerably, this tag body stays constant. Because it is accumulating the history of your journey. And you will be rewarded and punished or punished based on your journey and your act according to that. Ida, Pingla, Sushumna, these three innervate you. You know, they give you energy. Now, there is a very clear distinction between the Prakriti and the Purush, the formless one and his force. He says Prakriti or uska Adhishwar. Adhishwar is owner, Malik. Purush. These are two separate things, he says. Prakriti Sharir hai. Prakriti is, nature has formed your Sharir. What is your body made out of? Your body is made out of 5 elements, according to a simplification. It has many other complex compositions. We don't want to go into that. Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayu, Khang. 5. It was all from Prakriti or nature. Or Kutastha. This place is the Purush. If the Kutastha is missing, there will be no body. Just like there's a lot of, what do you call that? Feign. Feign is what? What is the word for feign, Runadi? Feign is froth. Froth. The froth is your body and it floats down the Brahma Nadi. Both are, from before the beginning of time. The Apara Prakriti, as I told you, once the complete destruction of all that we know in existence takes place, it becomes Pralay, Prakishta Roop Mein Lay. This Pralay causes everything to vanish. So then when the creation starts afresh, after a long period of dark night, then this Shakti, this force from the body of this Purush or the formless one comes out and divides itself into two. When it comes out, it is called the Adya Shakti, and when it divides itself into two, it is called the Parashakti and the Aparashakti. The Parashakti is the one that creates all divine objects, including Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Aparashakti is the one that creates the elusive world that we live in and the other planets and stuff like that. Kshetrarupa Apara Prakriti Ishwar ki Maya Shakti. It is also called Maya Shakti. Apara Shakti is also called Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti works through the three guns, Satogun, Rajogun, Tamagun. Ida, Pingla and Shushumna are the places where these three guns emanate from and play around with you. Let me remind you of one very important verse here, which just came to my mind. This Apara Prakriti or Maya Shakti is holding on to you. It has created you, it has taken charge of you, and you are virtually its prisoner. And the force, the formless one, he knows that you are in the trap of this Apara Shakti, this Maya Shakti. So what does he do? He comes down to earth in the shape of a guru. And what does the guru do? What is the meaning of a guru? What does he do? Guru consists of two letters, Gu and Ru. Gu is from Gun. U is going up. And Ru is from the sound of Samanvayu in the Manipur chakra. This is the sound of Manipur chakra. See, all our 5 chakras have their individual sounds. What is the sound? Muladhara is lung. Swadhisthana is Vang. Manipur or Agni, fire, is Rang. Then Anahat is Hang. Anahat is Vayu, air. And space is Yang. So Rang is the power of the Guru or your also. Inherent power which you are not aware of. That has to be developed. So what the two of them combine? And this shlok says, Gukara prathamo varna maya gunu vibhasaka. When you are under the influence of these three guns, which is denoted by the first letter Gu. Gu is also used in crude language where you say rubbish, waste material, even excreta is called Gu. So this is not a desirable object, but we are in that. How we are in that? Because we are in the Gu, in the Gun. So he says, Gu Kara Prathamo Varna. Varna is the first letter. What does he do? Maya Gun Vibhasaka. Vibhasak means to expand, to glorify, to show you in a beautiful manner, like you see these advertisements for fancy items and you get enticed. So Gun does that. It, in an overpowering manner, it captures your mind, your space, and it doesn't allow you to look elsewhere. And then everything is nice. In case we talk about Ravan, then his golden city made out of gold. So Kukara Prathamo Varna Maya Guna Vibhasaka. It extols the virtues of Maya and its three guns. But as we all know, it's not desirable. So what does Ru do? The second letter. Rukara Brahmo Varna Maya Guna Vibhas. No, Maya Guna Vidhvansaka. It destroys this. It destroys the connection between you and the Maya and you and the Guna and you and your attraction towards this glittering Maya. That's Ru. How Ru? The power of the Guru from his navel, Agni Tattva. Agni is always known as power. You go up. U is Urd. Urd is in the Kutas. So he takes you as a being and puts you in your own Kutas and shows you the world for what it is. That is why Guru is needed. This, I had a conversation with my Gurudev almost just after I was initiated, and this is what he had explained. So here, what is the Lord trying to do? He is exactly trying to tell you what is wrong with you, which trap you are trapped in. So okay, so let us see now. स्पंदित होकर जब इड़ा पिंगला और सुषुम्ना के भीतर खेलने लगता है, you are trapped by ida and pingla. Ida is rajagun, pingla is tamagun, and even sushumna is gun, sattvic gun. So you get the feeling that, oh, I am so powerful, I know so much, I can read the Gita, I can read the Veda, I can explain this, I can do this. It creates an inherent pride in your own achievements towards God. Even that is not desirable. तो मन और इंद्रिय रूप में जगत व्यापार को संपादित करता है. That is how the मन and indriyas, sensory organs and work organs, assimilate the world within yourself. स्थिर भाव ईश्वर भाव है. When these pulsating impulses created by the external indriyas and the work organs and the sensory organs is stilled, that means you stop looking outside. Then you can understand Ishwar, who is always there with you. Because if you were not there, the Maya would not be functioning. Then you would be a dead body. So much mud and ash, nothing else. यह प्रकृति विकृत होकर पंचभूत और उसके साथ एकादश इंद्रिय इन षोडश विकारों को उत्पन्न करती है. This becomes a little wayward and creates these 5 elements: Bhumi, Rapo, Analo, Vayu, Kham, and all its subjective defects: attraction, want, anger, greed. सबके मूल में एक आत्मा है. The base of all this, where the entire power, the entire drama is created from, is the soul. It's just like the clear sky collects smoke, water vapor, and very soon it becomes dark with a black cloud or dense cloud. And that dense cloud then rains down on the earth. The rain creates the earth, it gives the earth fertility to produce many things. आत्मा ब्रह्म विज्ञानमय मन है जो क्रिया की परावस्था है. आत्मा ब्रह्म विज्ञान मन है, ब्रह्म विज्ञानमय मन है जो क्रिया की परावस्था. ओके, आत्मा इज, द सोल इज ब्रह्म विज्ञान. ज्ञान इज टू नो, विज्ञान इज to leave the Gyan behind. So Brahma Vigyan is when you merge with him. There are no two. That's the only way you'll know him. Like you jump into the ocean or the river. Instead of trying to measure it, you can understand it. And this Brahma Vigyanamay is Paravastha, Samadhi. आकाश जैसे वायु रूप में परिणित होता है, उसी प्रकार आत्मा चंचल होकर बनता है. Just like the Akash, which is a stable entity, becomes Vayu. There are many layers of air in the sky. Atma also becomes chanchal or pulsation. It gains pulsation and becomes man. From where does it get this? Gets this this pulsation? It is from the movement of your pranavayu in Ida and Pingla. That's why this sensation or the vibration goes up to the Atma. ब्रह्म रूप आकाश में मन वासना में होकर स्थूल भूत आदि के रूप में परिणित होता है. This Atma then becomes very difficult to explain this. I can understand what is written in Hindi, but to translate that is, I'm finding a little bit of a drought in vocabulary. ब्रह्म रूप आकाश में, okay, मन वासना में होकर स्थूल भूत आदि के रूप में परिणत होता है. Okay. Within the man, this Atma, within the Brahma, the formless one, there is nothing there. And yet everything is there. This man, which is now an aberration created out of your soul, which in its original form is a part of him only, the formless one, now becomes, it generates desire. And then it creates the various creatures, including humans. Reminds me of that song by Qazi Nazrul Islam. Kheli choe visholoe viratu shishu anomone kheli choe. As if God is playing. There is an eternal question in very many intelligent people. Why did it all start? Why did he have to first create, then preserve, then destroy, then recreate? And this cycle has been going on endlessly over hundreds of thousands of years, millions, maybe trillions of years. Why? Nobody has an answer. Not even our, everybody has a belief. He has, after logical thinking, discussions, they have come to some conclusion. But whether that conclusion is perfect or not, nobody knows. I might have my own feelings why this started. It is said you are trapped into this eternal cycle of birth and death because of your karma. My counter question to that is, if it is so, even if it is so, why did I start in the first place? My first appearance on the stage must have been due to some other thing, because I was not even existing. Then how could I have done any karma? Once I came on the stage, then I started doing this karma, that karma, good, bad, ugly, everything. But before, the first time when I appeared on stage, I was completely innocent. I had not done anything. Why did I come? And there is no real answer for that. Some people say God desired to see his own reflections like a small child playing games. Like a small child looking into the mirror and finding his own image there and reacting to it, playing with it. There are all sorts of theories, but none of them are 100% convincing, because there is no 100% clear explanation for the starting of Srishti. You can almost say started by itself. Just like when you are born, the formless one, I don't know. Even to say that he was born is probably a wrong thing to say. He couldn't have been born. He's called Swayambhu in Hindi, in Sanskrit. Swayambhu means he who appears by himself. He doesn't need a mother and father. He doesn't need anything on the earth. He just appears. When did he appear? How did he appear? Why there is no other force like him appearing again? All sorts of questions to which there is no real answer. I don't know any civilization in the entire history of the world which could have answered this. Our Sanatan also has not satisfactorily answered this question. Okay, having done that, we go to where we were. Where were we? He is now explaining the creation. How Srishti came, how. But, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. You have to convince yourself whether this is the right answer or not, because I am not convinced. सारी काम्य वस्तुओं की सृष्टि करता मन creates everything. Now, how is that possible? We can't understand that. How? Because your man is directly related with the Kutastha. The Kutastha is related to the formless one. Right? So he has the same power of creation which the formless one has. Through his Shakti, Maya. And because the man desires something, so it evokes a sensation in your Kutastha. That is called Hiranya Garbha. You know that shlok that I keep reading about? It's from the Rig Veda. How did Srishti start? How did creation start? Om Hiranya Garbha Samavratatagre Bhutasya Jatapatirekayasit Sadadhara Prithvim Dyamute Mam Kasmai Devaya Vishavideva. Om Hiranya Garbha. Garbha is womb. Hiran is extremely bright. So this extremely bright light is the womb of creation. Hiranya Garbha. Samavrata Tagre. Before everything else, Bhutasya Jat. It started creating the creatures. You, me, all the other species. Patirekayasi. So even the Rig Veda doesn't explain where did the Hiranyagarbha come from? What is the force driving it? So there are many questions. All of them unanswered as far as I am concerned. Maybe somebody knows it. I have not run across him and I have not pursued it strongly enough with my Gurudev. I should have. Maybe it will come to me someday. जो साधनाभ्यास द्वारा इच्छा रहित हो जाते हैं, those who become completely desireless or vairagi, completely lacking any attraction in any object, that is vairagi. So those who practice sadhan become desireless, vairagi, and enter his heart. Okay. And thus they go beyond the cycle of birth and death and themselves turn into a part of the great me, him. So aham brahmasmi. That's one of the words of the Veda. I am him. जीव को जब तक मोक्ष प्राप्ति नहीं होती तब तक उसका आवागमन नहीं छूटता. Until you have this immortality or salvation or moksha, call it what you will, this back and forth running, death and birth does not stop. धर्म अधर्म रूप कर्मों से उसका अदृश्य या सूक्ष्म शरीर. Now, once he is there, then all this makes a lot of sense. Why am I in this trouble? Why am I in tension? Why am I unhealthy? Why am I having this pain, etc., etc. All that makes sense once you are born. But the first time that you were born, trillions of years ago, why? So where did it all start? That is my question. which is still unanswered. मायया कल्पितम विश्वम परमात्मनि केवले रज्जो भुजंगवत भ्रांत्या विचारे नास्ति किंचन. That's another conundrum. He says, Mayaya kalpitam vishwam. This entire world has been imagined and created. It is an illusion wrought by Maya, Bhagavan's Parashakti. Rajjo bhujangavat bhrantya. Rajjo is a coil of ropes or a rope, long rope coiled together. In your imagination, in the darkness, you might think it is a snake if you happen to accidentally touch it with your foot. The moment you put on the light, you will understand that that's not a snake, it is a coil of rope. Similarly, when the light of Gyan starts in your mind, then this serpent, huge serpent-like web of deceit, this world, this creation, becomes simple. You know that it is only an imagination, it's only a coil of rope. It is not, that dangerous as you had imagined it. Where are we? माया कल्पित. ओके. देन स्वर्ण में जैसे भुजंग कल्पित होता है, उसी प्रकार निर्विकल्प स्थिर आत्मा में जगत रूप कल्पित हुआ है. You can use gold to create various objects: ring, bracelet, bajuband, belt. It's all gold still. Similarly, nirvikalp sthir Paramatma mein jagat roop kalpit hua. This entire world is a part of him. I remember when I was very, very young, maybe 5-6 years old, we used to go with the entire family to the local village mela. There used to be rides and stuff and, sales counters and there used to be these vendors who would be carrying a load of sugar objects. Like, it would have elephants, it would have camels, it would have horses, it would have all these things. All made out of pure sugar. This is what he's saying. This world is all made out of pure sugar. Him, the Lord. Whatever shape it may be, it is part of Him. And, we as children would say, okay, that color I like, so maybe it's a green camel or a yellow elephant. So one chap will say, I want that elephant because I like the color, or the other will say that is larger, I want the green camel, or somebody will say, I like the horse. But they are all the same. This illusion can to some extent be demolished by vichar. What is the meaning of vichar? Vigat charana. Where you stop moving in the world. Moving doesn't mean moving with your hands and feet, moving with your brain, your buddhi, your man. And start thinking, that's all false. It is of no use. It's an illusion. Vichar arthat vigat charan. Jab tak man chanchal hai, as long as your man is fluctuating, pulsating, it will keep looking for objects to please itself. मन का चरण या गति नष्ट होगी when it starts or not starts, it stops wandering about, wandering in these objects. Then these objects will vanish. सृष्टि मन से होती है. सृष्टि, the entire creation is due to your man. Now, that brings me to another question. Oh, are we very late? No, we still have some time. That brings me to another question. I have an answer for that, at least thankfully. What happens to the people who depart this world? Tomorrow if I am gone. My friend, very dear friend Ravi, where is he now? My dear friend. Very close. We used to share our thoughts. We used to meet almost every day. We used to go out on vacations together. Where is he now? And why didn't I go? Why am I here? Why is he gone? And where has he gone? To this, Gita explains very beautifully, and that is a convincing answer. Baba used to say, people, if you are going from Bombay to Calcutta by train, many people will get off at certain stations and the others will come in. It is like your life, which is this train. This train journey is your life journey. At many stations, some people come on board, some people depart, they leave. So it is like that. Okay, that's one explanation. Why? Why can't we all go together? Why can't we all come together? Because each individual stays on this earth for the duration that he has not finished his prarabdha. For me, it might take 70, 80 years. For somebody, it might be 60 years. For somebody, it might be 90 years. So there is this variation. My departure is also decided based on my karma. So the theory of the karma and its results is very well established, very convincing, very, in my mind, correct. But there are people who don't believe in this because they don't believe in the next birth. They don't believe that a departed soul will be born again. I am trained to believe in this because I have all along been talking to saints and holy people and knowledgeable people, and I am convinced that this is the right thing. Why? There are many examples that I can put in to justify my line of thought, and obviously the other side who don't think there's a rebirth, they will have their own logic and their own convincing arguments. We are not to go into that. Let us assume that my thinking and the Gita's thinking based on that is correct. So, what happens? You work in a certain way. Why you work in a particular way? Why is not everybody a cricketer or a tennis player or a hockey player or a lovely cook or a lovely dancer? Why are there selected few only in each field? That is decided by your many lives which you have passed before you came to this world. Some people are excellent in cricket. They have an urge. I was very, very young. I had my own cricket team at home. Then I used to play for the school, then the college, then the Dhanbad district. My sons played for the county cricket in England when they were there. My father was a great footballer. I don't like football. Now see, there is a contradiction here. I'm supposed to like football, but I don't. Now expand that to other activities. Somebody likes to read, engineering. Somebody else likes to read law. Somebody likes to read medicine. Why this variety? Many things contribute to this variety. One is your karma. Second is your guna. Which guna pervades you? See, the guna, there are 3 jugs full of these 3 guns, and you have one small container. Now, how much of which guna you pour into that small container decides your nature. If it is satoguna, if it is in equal proportion, 33% is from all 3, then that is one type. Any variation in any percentage will change your nature, change your mind, change your behavior, change your all sorts of things. So basically, these things are decided by your karma. Somebody suffers from birth defects. Somebody has a long, clean, healthy life till the age of 100. That is the theory of karma. So, the question that remains unanswered is only why did it all start? But once it started, its flow now that we are going through, understanding, talking about, trying to understand, is understood. We understand, generally we understand why this is happening. How the Kundli, the horoscope, can tell you what is going to happen to you tomorrow, day after, one year from now, etc. When are you going to get married? When is your next hospitalization? Everything can be deciphered from the horoscope. I never believed in the horoscope until some people, showed it to me. I have already discussed this with you. So now, what we are doing is, you are born as a being, human, animal, reptile, fish, immaterial. You are born as a being. And you have to move through the cycle of many species. At the end of it all, for the 4 million species, they are called the, not 4 million, 4 lakh species are the human species, in which you have to progressively move upwards. What is upwards and what is downwards? Away from God is downwards, up towards Him is upwards. So when you come to the lowest rung of humanity, you are almost animal-like. You don't know God, you don't want to know God, all you are interested in feeding yourself, enjoying your life, that is tamasic gun. 100% tamasic gun is like animal. That is Rakshas, that is called our friend, what is his name? Mahishasur. Then you move on. Now you have Rajagun and to a very large extent Sattvagun also. And you become Ravana. Extremely knowledgeable, son of a Brahman, also having Rakshas blood in him. So it's a conflicting state of being. But look at him. Absolutely powerful. King of all he surveyed. Even the divine beings were scared of him. So this is what gun does to you. This is how you appear in a form, and that form then helps you form the next form until you decide, no, I played this game long enough. Please God, give me a break. Take me towards yourself. Merge me with your formless form. And that's called moksha. Then you are out of this cycle, eternal cycle of rebirth. That's the whole thing in the creation of the world. And how you escape from it, this. Srishti man se hoti hai. As long as you have a man, you will be recreating yourself. ईश्वर की सृष्टि मन अनुकूल शक्ति ही उनकी प्रकृति है, या त्रिगुणमय ये शास्त्र में उनको माया है. We have discussed all this. क्रिया की प्रावस्था में चंचल प्राण और उसके साथ मन भी निरुद्ध होने पर त्रिगुण की क्रिया नहीं होती. Okay, that is critical. In paravastha or in the state of samadhi, your body is virtually nishkriya, completely non-functional. At that point of time, the Maya Shakti, through its 3 guns, is not able to affect you, because your sensory organs are not receiving any input, your work organs are not receiving any output. Go and kill this fellow, hit him, do it this, grab this, nothing. They are not connected to your mind and your man, and therefore you only exist in the Sukshma Sharir, the ethereal body, and in the Karan Sharir, because the Karan Sharir is the core of your existence. That will not go until you have actually received salvation. So you move from one body to the next body in the Sukshma Sharir. The Sthul body, the outer cover or the gross body as we know it, is destroyed. The Hindus cremate it, the Muslims and the Christians bury it. They have a theory that it will be when the God comes and in हिंदी they say कयामत के दिन पर अल्लाह मियाँ सब बुलाएंगे और उसके बाद में सबका हिसाब करेंगे. No, that हिसाब is done on a daily basis. But then I am nobody to say you must believe this. They are nobody to say I must believe this, etc. So let us all exist and agree to disagree. So here we go. त्रिगुण अर्थात ईड़ा पिंगला सुषुम्ना के अंतर्गत क्रिया युद्ध होने पर उत्पत्ति या परिणाम होता है. When the movement of the prana vayu, which keeps you energized, which keeps you functioning, when it is completely stopped, then the Maya stops functioning or having any effect on you. Until, as long as you survive, because even when all the three flow channels, Ida, Pingla and Sushumna, have stopped functioning, even then there is a very tiny amount of oxygen that is going to your brain to keep your body alive. That point of time, you are so isolated from the world, it does not exist, and you are very much on the lap of the formless one. You are so close to him. There is no मैं or मेरा. You know, my teacher in class 6, 1964, Father Lawrence Dietrich, he used to always say this. We are afflicted by the power of me and mine. He said, at my place, he was from the US somewhere in New Jersey. He said, at my place, it is me, my wife, my son John, his wife, us four, and no more. And that's what I see in the entire world, even in your country here, which I am visiting fresh. So, this मैं and mera, me and mine, stops because now the man is merged with the soul. It is not proactive, it is not imagining, it is not creating. And the force of the Lord called Apara Shakti is not able to, entice him into the world. So for him, the world virtually ceases to exist. इस निरोध अवस्था से अदृष्टवश जब कल्पना की तरंगे उठते तब कार्य साधक क्षेत्र भी उद्दित होता है. For whatever reason, if he starts looking out into the world, starts imagining things, then the whole process will start again. ईश्वर का ईश्वरत्व नित्य सिद्ध होने के कारण इनकी दोनों प्रकृतियां जो जगत का कारण है वे भी अनादि हैं. Because both these powers, Parashakti and Aparashakti, do their job, which is visible to us, then there is no doubt that they have existed forever along with the Formless One. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Ram Narayana Vasudeva Shri Guru Chaitanya He Atma Deva He Mata Durge Har Vishwanatha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhavet Asato Ma Sadagamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya Aviravi Mahidi. बोलिए प्रेम से गुरु महाराज की जय. परम गुरुदेव की जय, परात्पर गुरुदेव की जय, परमेष्टि गुरुदेव की जय, आदि गुरुदेव की जय, गुरु माता की जय। हर